Hi, welcome back. It's Tony with Green Pea. This is our third in our 6-part series on the Big Five. The Big Five questions that customers will ask you during the sales process. In this video, I want to talk about the number one category, the most asked category of the Big Five, and that is availability. Sounds something like this. Do you still have it? I saw it on your website. They drive into the lot. Hey, do you still have this? Do you have a needle in a haystack? Can you get me the needle in a haystack? This is the most often asked category very early in the process. Now, why do you think the customer asks, is it still available, as their first question? Because, simply put, they're trying to rule you out. In their mind, if you don't have it, there's no reason to continue a conversation with you. On the other hand, if you do have it, there's plenty of reason to continue the conversation. So this is a really touchy moment in the call when they call up and say, I saw this car on your website. How you answer that question is going to determine whether the conversation continues, right? For sure, if you still have it, the conversation is going to continue. But what if you don't have it? What happens then? Or what if you do have it and the one you do have doesn't meet all their requirements? So let's role play it. The customer calls in and says, I saw this car on your website. Do you still have it? That's a great question. Let me take a look and see what's available. I'm going to put you on hold. You put them on hold for a second. Come back from hold. Why are you putting them on hold? This is not a terminal hold. This is a 5 to 10 second hold. It's a way for you to gather your thoughts, get the answer for their question right now, as we talked about quickly, and also take back control of the conversation. We all know that the person asking the questions is the person that's in control of the conversation. So we need a way for you to be able to take control of the conversation, to take it back. And the way you do that is by asking a question. So they call into the dealership. I saw this car on autotrader.com. Can you tell me if you still have it? Certainly. Let me check and see if it's still available. I'm going to put you on hold. Put them on hold. When you have them on hold, then you need to have an inventory opportunity. You either need to have a website available or an inventory list. These are the tools you should have at hand at all times, whether it's on your smartphone, whether it's on a PC, or it's just a printed out list of your inventory. You need to be able to have that information available like that. Now, what are you doing when you have them on hold? Number one, you're checking to see if that car is available in your inventory. But number two is, and probably more importantly, you're checking to see if there's some alternatives for them to consider. Why do you want alternatives at this point? You want to be prepared with alternatives in the event that either A, the car is not available, or B, there's something about the car that turns them off. Maybe it is available, but it's got a V8 and they want a V6, and you don't want to lose control of the call just because it doesn't have the engine they're looking for. So we've got them on hold. We looked in the inventory. We've determined the car is available or isn't available. Makes no difference at this point, because when we come back from hold, here's what it sounds like. I'm back. Are you there? Great. My name's Tony and your name is Bob. Nice talking to you, Bob. It looks like we have 4 or 5 Camrys in stock, including the one you called on. When would you like to drive it? Stop right there. Now, when would you like to drive it? The car's here. When would you like to drive it? The car's not here. Looks like we have 4 or 5 cars like the one you called in on. Unfortunately, the one you called in on is no longer with us. See how I'm coming back and I'm leading with the alternatives. It looks like we have 4 or 5 SUVs like you're looking for. It looks like we have 4 or 5 white Camrys like what you're looking for. It looks like we have 6 or 7. Keep the number low and make it conversational. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that to expose them to other opportunities very early in the call, in the event that the car they called on doesn't meet all their criteria. So now I've got a fallback opportunity, right? Tell them the car's there, I ask them to take it for a spin, and they either accept. Looks like we have 4 or 5 in stock, including the one you called in on. When would you like to drive it? If they accept, then I go down the appointment road and just set the appointment. At this point, I don't care whether they have a trade-in or they're buying, paying cash, leasing, whatever. Remember, my goal here is to simply get the appointment. All that other minutia, all that trade-in, upside down, down payment, monthly payment, credit, that can all be handled when they get here, right? If they're willing to set the appointment simply by me answering the question, yes, the car is still here, when would you like to drive it? I'm going to set that appointment right there, and I'm not going to open up new opportunities for me to lose that appointment opportunity, okay? If the car's not here, and I come back and I say, it looks like we have 4 or 5 in stock, unfortunately the one you called on is no longer with us, what would you like to know about these cars, or what was important in that car for you? It's going to lead them down the road to, well, tell me about the other cars. Well, what was it about that car that was important to you? Oh, great, you wanted a sunroof. Looks like I have 2 others with a sunroof. I've got a red one and a blue one. When would you like to take a look at those? So notice how I'm answering the question and waiting for them to say yes or no, and then closing on the question. That's the quickly. The quickly is, yet it looks like we have 4 or 5 in stock, including the one you called in on. When would you like to drive it? Okay? If the car's there, I'm assuming they have further interest in it. Right? So inviting them in to take a look at it is a much better approach than saying, what do you want to know about it? Right? So if I say it looks like we have 4 or 5 in stock, including the one you called in on, when would you like to drive it? Versus, looks like we have 4 or 5 in stock, including the one you call in, what do you want to know about it? The what do you want to know about it opens up a whole conversation that I may not even have to have. But the when would you like to drive it gives them the opportunity to either say today, tomorrow, set an appointment, or ask their second most important question. So typically a customer is going to ask you 2, 3, maybe 4 questions. And what I want to do is I want to help them move through their questions as quickly as I can, building confidence and trust in them as I move through those questions. So if they ask me the car's there and it says it looks like I have 4 or 5 in stock, including one you called on, there's no reason for me to ask what else do you want to know about it. I'm just going to invite them in. If there's more they need to know, they're going to ask me. So if I say 4 or 5 in stock, including the one you called in on, when would you like to drive it, and they want to know if it has a sunroof, they're going to ask me, well, before I do that, can you tell me if it has a sunroof? Okay, now we're into the availability, the equipment one. How are we going to answer that? We'll talk about that later. But for now, all we're wanting to do is answer that customer's questions quickly, confidently, to their satisfaction. Did I answer the question of availability quickly? Is it still there? Let me check, see if it's available. Yes, it is. Looks like we have 3 or 4 like it. When would you like to drive one? So I was quick, I was confident, and I know it's to their satisfaction because they asked the question, is it there? And I said, yes, it is there. And I closed on it. So you see how these principles kind of fall through there? Answer their question quickly, confidently, to their satisfaction. Let's do that one more time. Ring, ring. Hey, it's Tony at Green Pea. Hey, I was on your website and I saw that you had a white Toyota Camry. Can you tell me if it's still there? Certainly. Let me check and see if it's available. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm back. Are you there? By the way, I'm Tony and you are Bob. Nice talking to you, Bob. Looks like we have 4 or 5 Camrys in stock, including the one you called in on. When would you like to drive it? Stop. At this point, the availability category is gone, and now either they're going to accept my invitation for an appointment, or they're going to ask a question from the remaining 4 categories. And we'll talk about the next category, price, in my next video. Covered availability, yes, it is still there. Now the customer says, what's your best price? Stay tuned. In video number 3, we're going to cover price. Thanks for watching. This is Tony with Talking CarBiz.